One Ball State faculty member spins his happy little moments.
What one community is doing to rebuild after a severe storm that tore through their town.
And our not-so-expert Cardinal weather crew gives some of their takes on today's March Madness. Get the coffee ready, open up those eyes, because you're waking up with Cardinal weather.
From Ball State Unified Media, you're waking up with Cardinal weather, live from the Ball State Weather Center.
Good Friday morning to you. You're waking up with Cardinal weather. I'm Dima Robinson.
And I'm Brooke Fallrad.
The SportsLink program here at Ball State is known for their award-winning work in sports production across the country.
But the leader of that program, Chris Taylor, found his spark in a joyful but interesting way. Take a look.
Teaching and creativity have been two of the biggest elements at play in the life of Chris Taylor, director of SportsLink here at Ball State. And over the years, Taylor has found joy in the happy little moments.
The favorite part of what I do here at Ball State is when you see a student connect, or the light goes off, or they've created something they're really proud of and you've had a small hand in that.
And Taylor's students aren't only influenced by his instruction, but the other element in his life too.
So we'll be ready for it.
CT's definitely played a large role in influencing me on my creative side of storytelling and just the ability to tell stories. He's probably one of the most creative people I know, and he has that niche for knowing how to.
But those elements don't just come together to create something magnificent at SportsLink. They also assemble in a place one may not expect.
Not many people probably know that outside of Ball State that maybe I do have a life and I do something different, and that's being a certified Bob Ross painting instructor.
And Taylor's own joy of painting didn't come from out of the blue.
I had the opportunity to meet Bob personally. I'll never forget that encounter, how genuine he was, how encouraging he was. But it never really hit me until many years later after he passed, how special that relationship actually was.
The two remained friends for the rest of Ross's life. But those two big elements of Taylor's life, teaching and creativity, that were elevated by the late artist, have extended beyond the canvas.
I often reference in my classes, you're starting with a blank canvas. And I feel like I can come back and put some authority behind that when I say, as a landscape artist, I'm starting with a blank canvas, and it's all in my mind and how I want to be creative to create something on the canvas. Much like storytelling and production and cinematography, there really are no limits. How creative can you be, and how can you think about you're going to fill your canvas?
And Taylor hopes to continue that legacy in both areas of his world until the blank canvas of his own life has its finishing touches.
It's kind of like my way to continue his legacy. Not many people who are painting or who are certified Ross instructors actually knew Bob. I think I have that special connection, and I feel like the responsibility to carry that on. It's challenging to try to do both, but it's fun. And the thing is, I've never ever really felt like either is a job.
Not a job, but a joy. A joy of teaching and a joy of creativity. In Muncie, Andy Newman, NewsLink, Indiana.
If you would like to take a class with Chris Taylor, you can head to his website, christaylorartist.com. Now, that was a really heartwarming story, and I would love to see what warm temperatures are coming our way, possibly, for local weather. Hunter, what do you have for us?
Unfortunately, not until later on next week. Looking at that radar, though, you can see nothing but clouds in our area, but we do have some snow showers in our northern region, which shouldn't affect us, at least for now. Looking at those temperatures, though, we are just at freezing with 32 degrees. A little bit warmer in the hot spot of 36 in Bloomington. We will definitely start to rise in temperatures slowly into the 50s for today. So take advantage of that before we have some cold air in store. But we will have some rain tonight first before we get a cool weekend ahead. We got some high winds up to 20 miles per hour, and we have some rain chances on Monday and Tuesday. I'll have more in my full forecast.
Coming up, the town of Winchester is still recovering from a severe tornado that hit them a week ago. See how their community has come together and then some.
And that's after your weather now. Winchester has been taking steps to clean up the damage caused from the tornado that ripped through the town just a week ago today.
Newslink, Indiana, Sawyer Osmond reports that while one local church was hit hard, that hasn't stopped its members from carrying on.
Piles of books laying amongst the rubbish belonging to Winchester's Church of Christ left behind from Thursday's destructive storm. The home to Sunday services facing mass destruction from the EF3 tornado that swept through the city. The church, along with the Taco Bell, Goodwill, and the Walmart, was one of those hundreds of buildings significantly damaged. Now, the impact is inspiring volunteers to help repair the city of Winchester.
Hey, it's a great opportunity for these students and for us adults that are on here as well. Anytime you can give back to the community or to someone else, rather than look out for your own interests, we're doing exactly what God called us to do.
The damage caused by the storm led the Riverhawks for Christ disaster response team out of Oklahoma to travel 15 hours from their hometown to come and serve the Indiana community. 15 student volunteers from Northeastern State University and local high schools around the area came to support and clean up the remains that were left behind. I spoke with a student from the Riverhawk for Christ membership team who shared with me that the Winchester community has been in good spirits amidst the disaster.
We want them to know that there's hope out there and that this is a horrible tragedy that's happened and there's so many people that are impacted by it, but there is a redeemer and there's a way to continue on. So.
Along with providing spiritual support, the Riverhawks assisted in making up care packages with supplies that they brought with them, washing donated clothing, and organizing cleanups.
Across the pond, we found even more folks who have stepped up to help their community in times of trouble. The UK's Douglas Coast Guard rescue team says a Newfoundland dog helped his golden retriever friend who was struggling in the water. The black dog was able to get the attention of a good Samaritan, and that person took a boat into the harbor and rescued the dog. The two dogs were reunited and after the rescue, sent home with their owners.
The Senate has a beef from Paraguay. On Thursday afternoon, the chamber voted to overturn a Biden administration rule allowing the U.S. to import beef from Paraguay. The final tally was 70 to 25. Democratic Senator John Tester and Republican Senator Mike Rounds introduced the resolution in December. They said Paraguay's recent bout with foot and mouth disease raised concerns about the safety of the country's beef products and that it is a potential competition with U.S. ranchers. Along with the suspension of Paraguay beef imports, the bipartisan bill also calls for a creation of a group to evaluate potential health threats from that country's food products. Several organizations, including the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, supports the legislation.
There's something else in the market for those interested in saving a little more money. Can we interest you in a house? They're only $1. You heard that right. Nearly 1,000 vacant homes in Baltimore up for sale for just $1. On Wednesday, Baltimore's Board of Estimates approved a program that would allow the city-owned homes to be sold for a single buck. Only individual buyers and community land trusts can buy the homes for $1. Small non-for-profits would need to pay $1,000, while developers and larger non-for-profits would need to be charged $3,000. Supporters of the program hope the buyers will fix them up and live in them. However, opponents fear the current city residents will be pushed out once the neighborhoods improve. It's actually not the first new idea for Baltimore. Charm City created a new generation of homesteaders in the 1970s with a similar $1 house plan. You know, with having $1, at least $1 in my bank account, I would buy a house immediately.
For sure, and with everything going on in Baltimore with those $1 houses, I'm really interested to see what the weather's looking like for the rest of the nation. Joe, what do you have for us?
Well, taking a broad look across the country right now at the temperatures, it is currently 32 in Muncie, 29 in New York, but as you move out west, it is 45 in Kansas City and 58 in Las Vegas. But as you move farther up north, you're only at 15 degrees in Bismarck. So definitely very broad temperatures across the country. We will warm up, though, today. It will be 54 in Cincinnati, 54 in Kansas City. Out in Las Vegas, you're at 77, and in LA, you're at 60 degrees. But again, as you move into the Great Plains, it is only 33 in Minneapolis and 35 out in Billings. As you can see, looking at the current radar, radar, we do have a snow system moving through much of Wisconsin and Michigan right now with some heavier pockets in Iowa. And then look down south, you have some rain currently going through Louisiana, starting to make its way into Mississippi right now, and that will make its way across the country. You also have a couple showers there in Florida. Looking at the current watches and warnings, we'll start in the Northeast, where we're pretty busy right now. You have a flash flood watch in effect for much of New Jersey and New York. That will come into effect later today as some rain moves into the area. And then moving further into upper New York and Vermont, you will see you have a winter storm watch and warning. That'll be for later tonight as those winter storms make their way across the Midwest and into the Northeast. Moving out west, you can see a very broad watch and warning for much of the Dakotas and Minnesota right now. First, though, in Wisconsin and Michigan, you're currently under a winter storm advisory, so expect anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow as that makes its way across the Great Lakes region. But then out west here, this warning or watch is not in effect right now, but it will come into effect later on Saturday morning as it makes its way, as a new system makes its way across the country. And moving down south real quick, you have a fog advisory this morning, so be careful as you're on the roads going to work today. Looking at the precision cast, though, like I said, you have some snow moving across Wisconsin and Michigan and some rain down south. That will make its way eastward across the country, but as you can see, that will continue to go before, by tonight, it will start the two sides will begin to merge, and that snow will take hold in the northeast. As you can see, just looking at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, when you're in the Great Plains, you're going to be dealing with mostly below average temperatures, but moving northeast, you will be seeing above average temperatures, but throughout much of the Midwest, we'll be dealing with pretty much the normal temperatures for this time of year. So I don't know about you guys, but I just want those warm temperatures from last week to come back.
Oh man, I can't wait. I'm ready to lay a blanket down and read a book out in the sun.
I know a lot of people on campus like using hammocks and stuff and reading outside, and I'm just really excited to get back to those activities. Well, thank you so much, Joe.
Good job. In just a minute, we've got word on a life-changing medical feat.
And that's after your weather now.
Welcome back. The time is 8:15 and you're looking at a live look outside the Foundational Science Building. A major milestone in medicine, the first successful transplant of a genetically modified pig into a human recipient. This history-making procedure happened last Saturday at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. The 4-hour operation involved a 62-year-old man with end-stage kidney failure. The pig kidney had been genetically modified 69 times to reduce the risk of rejection, and the procedure was done with a special permission from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The transplant recipient had received a donor organ from a human in 2018, but it failed 5 years later. Doctors said the new kidney seemed to be functioning normally, and they expect the patient to be discharged soon. It's another first for Mass General, which also performed the first successful human kidney organ transplant back in 1954.
The success of this pioneering surgery, once deemed unimaginable, would not have been possible without his courage and his willingness to embark on a journey into uncharted medical territory.
Parents of young ones, listen up. You should probably take a close look at the toy chest. Fisher-Price recalled Little People Mickey and Friend figurines. According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, the heads on the Donald Duck and Daisy Duck toys can come off and pose a potential choking hazard. Fisher-Price says that there have been 3 accidents of detachments. No related injuries were reported, and the recall is only for the Donald and Daisy dolls. More than 200,000 of these units were sold nationwide in stores and online. Consumers are advised to return the Donald and Daisy figurines for a $10 refund. Now, I don't know about you, but after all this talk about weather, I'm starting to think, what are we looking at for the rest of the week? Yeah. Hunter, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so let's talk about now. These current temperatures, though, it is 32 degrees, as well as that in Fort Wayne, but in Bloomington is 36, a little bit of a hot spot, I guess, for right now. But we are trying to warm up here with actually 8 degrees warmer than yesterday, in Fort Wayne, 10 degrees warmer. So we're trying to get back into those warmer conditions, but unfortunately, it will kick into some cooler temperatures this weekend. Looking at that radar, though, you can see we do have some cloud cover in our area right now, and then some snow flurries near Marion and Bluffton, but it shouldn't impact us, at least for right now. But we will have some rain settling in later this afternoon and evening here. But again, this is the greater picture here, which we will have that rain and potentially some mixing of snow later on tonight, actually, but I'll keep you posted on that. For the next 12 hours, so we will gradually increase into the mid-50s here before slowly starting dipping down tonight. So take advantage of those outdoor activities before we get some cold wind this weekend. Like I mentioned, tonight we'll have a low of 30 degrees here with a 30% chance of rain showers here. Those gusts, though, look at that, 20 miles per hour. So if you do have those outdoor objects, make sure to secure those in case they do blow away with those heavy gusts later on tonight. With that precision cast, though, we'll have some rain settling in through the state around 3 p.m., in which we'll have some cloud cover starting to build up here. And we will then eventually have a potential of having some mixing here as this front pushes through, and you will definitely feel that tomorrow morning when you take a step outdoors here, bringing some cloudy conditions, but we'll have some sunshine, thankfully, by Saturday afternoon to gradually start warming up here. But this wind is a big picture, though, as well as this front pushes through here. You see the winds northeast around 23-mile gusts here, but we will slowly start to transition here from the east to southeast around 20 miles per hour on Sunday, bringing those warmer conditions actually for Sunday into Monday. So like I mentioned here, 44 with gradual clearing here Saturday, but it looks like Sunday would be the best day to take advantage of those outdoor activities, nearly reaching 50, but you got those nice warm gusts up to 20 on Sunday here. So for the next 7 days here, it looks like we will have some rain chance and snow tonight, but we'll keep you posted on that. But we'll gradually warm up to the 50s on Sunday here. But our big picture is Monday into Tuesday. We will have the chance of some rain showers, but slowly rising back into the 50s.
That's what I like to hear.
Thank you, Hunter.
Coming up, our underqualified host will give you all you need to know about the upcoming March Madness today.
And that's after your Weather Now.
Calling all sports enthusiasts and collectors, now is your chance to own a piece of sports history. Memorabilia from some of the biggest names in sports will be up for auction at the Sotheby's Sports next month in New York. This includes Muhammad Ali's boxing trunks from the 1975 Thrilla in Manila fight against Joe Frazier that are expected to fetch up to $6 million. They're signed by Ali's assistant trainer and cornerman, Drew Bundini Brown, and the champ himself. Court classics like Michael Jordan's Air Jordan 13s are part of a collection of 50 pairs of sneakers worn by some of the greatest NBA players. Jordan wore them in 1998 during his final season with the Chicago Bulls and are expected to sell for up to $400,000. Kobe Bryant's jersey from Game 1 of the 2009 NBA Finals is also up for grabs. It's expected to sell up for as much as $2.5 million. Now, it wouldn't be March without some basketball madness. Jake Dickman joins us with some amateur bracketologists for this morning for more.
Yes, thank you, Brooke. I'm joined by Jack the Weatherman Van Meter, Brooke Farrad, of course, and Abby Urban, our amateur bracketologists, as we'll call them. So, we had some big upsets yesterday.
Yeah.
Duquesne, a big one. Of course, NC State over Texas Tech. I think the biggest one, though, Oakland over Kentucky.
Of course.
Bracket's already broken.
I don't know much about basketball, but I know that it was a really big problem that
Kentucky's
Everyone
Kentucky's
is
always
devastated.
been in it.
I didn't pick Kentucky,
Everyone
so
is
my
devastated.
bracket's good.
Wait, is your Final Four still good?
I had my Final Four was Marquette,
Yeah.
Michigan,
Yeah.
U of I,
Michigan.
and Tennessee.
Michigan State.
Michigan
I think
State.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Michigan State.
She means Sparty.
Yes.
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 I see.
All right, well, let's get into some of the games today, though. All right, first up, 6:50. We have number 8 Nebraska, who have never ever won an NCAA tournament game, versus number 9 Texas A&M, who have never won an NCAA tournament game under their 5th-year head coach Buzz Williams. Who are you guys like in that one?
I am going to go Texas A&M. I don't know why, but I have a good feeling about it.
I'm going A&M, just because it's like Johnny Football played. Remember him?
Yeah.
Remember Johnny Manziel?
Johnny Manziel, yeah.
Yeah, but that was for
Different
football.
sport, but yeah.
Different sport, but that's the
Same
only
school.
person I know who went to Texas A&M, so I'm going with them.
The only school I would know is Texas A&M, so I'm going to Texas A&M.
All right, fair.
Wow.
Next
Clean
up,
sweep there.
we have number 5 Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They're looking for their first Sweet 16 appearance since 2017.
James Madison.
But they're up against James Madison, who is a 12 seed, but also went 31-3 and have not lost a game since January 27th.
Wait, James Madison hasn't?
Yes, they've not lost a game in almost 2 months.
Wow.
And they're a 12 seed.
What conference are they in?
They are in the Sun Belt. They were in the Sun
I
Belt
love that. That's
Championship.
my favorite conference.
I think I'm going to say Wisconsin because of the Badgers.
Go Badgers.
Go
Yeah.
Badgers.
I think I'm going to go James Madison with those stats. I think it sounds pretty good for them.
My issue is I love stats like that. My issue is when you go into a tournament, the big names always like scare the little teams, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Call James Madison a little team?
Are they a little team?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, oh, they are.
They're a
little
Sun Belt team.
All right, so I'm gonna go Wisconsin. Then.
Yeah. All right. That game's at 9:40.
Okay. God, it's
The
past my
next big one.
bedtime.
The next big one we got to
So
talk
late.
about. Hey, the next big one we got to talk about. FAU versus Northwestern. Of course, FAU with that major Cinderella run to the Final Four last year.
Yeah.
But
They were in the Final Four?
Yeah, last year.
Really?
They were
Oh.
a 9 seed.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of them.
No.
You've never heard of them? Never heard of the Owls?
No.
All right,
Well, look
I
at
think we
the
know who
Fighting
Brooke is
Owls.
picking.
Yeah, right.
I think we know who Brooke is picking for this one.
I am from Chicago, so I am going to go with Northwestern.
I pick, as I've said, I pick based on colors, and
Yep.
I pick based on mascots. So
Yep.
I'm going to go with the Owls.
I like owls.
Wow.
That's it. Barn owl.
That is a simple yet effective explanation.
It is. It is.
And finally, I think one of the bigger games today,
Yeah.
number 7 Florida versus number 10 Colorado. Florida made the SEC championship, but they are the last back-to-back national champions, 2006, 2007. And
Yeah, but that was forever ago, though.
yeah, it was. And Colorado was a bubble team, and they made the play and beat Boise State, so they're coming in with
Bubble team?
They were not supposed to make the tournament. They were one of the
Noted.
first 4 teams and made it based off of that.
Well, good for them.
So who do you? Yeah, good for them. It sounds like Brooke wants Florida. In this
I'm going
one.
Florida.
I'm going Florida.
Gator.
Gator.
Go Gators.
Well, thank you so much, Jake. After the break, the Midwest is known for their spontaneous change in temperature. But what causes that? We've got your explanation in this week's Breaking Down the Science.
But that's after your weather now.
Welcome back. This week's temps have been all over the charts. We're going to go ahead and toss it to Tyler with your breaking down the science to figure out why. Tyler?
Welcome back. So we're breaking down the science for temperature swings. So if you've been following our socials, you know that this week we talked about seasons. And so March is what we call a transitional month. And what that means is we're going to have a lot of temperature swings, so cold to warm, typically, or warm to cold. And we're going to have change in precipitation. So we've seen it all this month. We've seen rain, we've seen snow, we've even seen a little bit of sleet in parts of the state. And what this is all caused is caused by battling air masses. So up here, I've drawn a simplified version of what we see on the surface. So we have, and to the north of us, we have a continental polar air mass. And think of this as your typical winter day. It's cold, it's very dry, and to the south, we have a maritime tropical air, and this is your typical summer day, so it's very warm and very humid. Now, right now we are positioned along this frontal boundary, okay? And this is where we get a lot of our storms. That's why we often refer to March as our storm season, because we can get very short-lived, very violent storms right along this frontal boundary. Now, but let's talk about our record temperature swings that we've been having recently. Why is it we can go out in shorts one weekend, and then by Monday, we're having to break out the jacket, we're having to break out the mittens, because it just, not only is it gotten below freezing, but now we've gotten all the way to snow and even snow accumulation. Well, we have to go further up in the atmosphere to look at that, to the jet stream. Now, the jet stream sets at about 10,000 kilometers high, and for reference, that's about the cruising altitude of a jet airplane. So thus why we call it jet stream. So typically in the summer and the winter, we have the jet stream that kind of acts as a natural barrier between the continental polar and the maritime tropical air masses. Okay, so we don't get much. Right now during these transitional seasons though, we are positioned right under the jet stream. So we get these things called troughs and ridges. And what happens is this cold air is going to kind of flood into this trough, and it's going to force this maritime tropical air up higher north, up further north. So a couple weeks ago when we were sitting at those 70 degrees, okay, when it was just beautiful out and we're like, this is great, we were positioned right here on the warm side, okay? But 2 days later when it was 30 and snowing, we were positioned here on the cold side. So next time that we have record highs, just know, for my friends at the desk, just know that record lows may be lurking around the corner.
And here's your last look at local weather.
Yeah, so we are definitely going to feel some roller coaster temperatures like Tyler mentioned, some cooler low temperatures, so you're definitely need a coat if you're heading out for the next few mornings. We'll have a chance of some rain with warm temperatures in the 60s though, as we dive back down into the 40s on Wednesday. But looks like we'll have some warmer conditions starting on Thursday, and hopefully that is here to last for the next week.
Well, thank you so much, Tyler and Hunter.
And thank you guys for joining us this Friday morning for Cardinal Weather. I'm Demar. Oh, sorry.
We'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your Friday and a fantastic weekend.